working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Cars Shop.
Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what might be the perfect thing for you to purchase for your first project or your first build. Plus, we're going to give you some updates on some of the stuff that's been going on around here and why I haven't been turning out quite as many hands-on episodes. There's a reason, and you're going to like it. All right, well, let's just get into it. I'm Mike, and this is My Car Shop. I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but I'm going to confess something that is very important, and that is,
I'm only human.
And sometimes the production schedule for the channel can make demands on my time that I can't keep up with the stuff I've got going in the shop. You'll notice there's a vehicle right here that's in a different place than it has been for the past couple of years, and that's because I have quite an epic episode going on this, which is unusual for me that it's going over a span of several days. So I had hoped to have another episode out on that car, but things sometimes don't go the way we plan. So there's an epic episode coming on this. I have been getting back on stitches. You may not know that. Got more coming on the 47 Ford. There's just been a lot, but there's also been a lot in other areas of life. The good news is I have a list of things that you guys have requested me to talk about, and so there's always something that I can give you for content on those Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. I had this really grandiose idea because today is Halloween, and I had this grand idea of turning out well, today isn't Halloween. Actually, Halloween is a ways in the future, but I'm filming for Halloween today. Anyway, I had this grandiose idea of doing this great, big, spooky in the shop with an Iron Fist tune, because I kind of know the guys in that band. But I had to come to the realization that there's only so much of me to go around. I am human, and I can only do so much. However, I'm digressing from the topic of this video, which is why you're here. So let's talk about that. What would be the ideal vehicle for you to pick up to start your first project if you don't have a project vehicle? The answer to that question might be a lot simpler than you realize. First, I'm going to ask you to set aside your perfectionism, because we all have our dream build. I still don't own my dream car, and I've owned over 100 cars, and I currently have about 10 here on the property, and there's a few more I'm looking at. But my dream car, maybe that's a subject for another video. I don't know. But the easiest vehicle for you to pick up to start a project on is the one that you can find. It doesn't have to be a car that you're necessarily a huge fan of. It doesn't necessarily have to be a car that's been your lifelong dream. But part of it is just finding what's available. I mean, part of the reason we have so many cars here is because I'm a tightwad. I don't like spending money. I don't like spending money at all. So we pick up things like this Challenger for $300, and it's a project that most people would throw in the junk pile because that's where I got it. Ultimately, it came from the middle of a junk pile with another car on top of it. Or the 47 Ford, when I purchased that, it was only a few $100s. Or the 73 or 74 Swinger was only a couple $100. Or the 88 Dodge pickup was actually given to me. Just stuff like that. So I don't like paying much for anything. So the first thing is to open yourself up to the possibilities of what's available. Not that I can afford, but that's just a super good deal that I can't pass up, because let's face it, if we're realistic, none of us can probably afford to do any of this. Think about this. Maybe you don't have the space. Maybe you don't have the resources. Maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do, but the one thing you can do is start working on something to hone your skills. Maybe you're just going to work on something to fix it up, to flip it, and move it on down the road, get your money back out of. Now you've got a bigger chunk of change to work on the next one. For example, when I did my 41 Ford, or 41, It was a 1931 Ford Model A. I had no intention of ever selling that car, but I started to get the desire for a fat fender, the 47 Ford, which is right there in the back room, and realized that the only way that was going to happen at that point I was at in my life was to cash out of one of my vehicle investments to invest in something else. So I sold that to a good friend of mine and purchased that 47 Ford, took that money and actually built a new motor for the 68 Dart Pro Street GTS, put the nitrous on it, bought the front wheels, put the disc brakes on, all stuff I hadn't done on that car, even though it was on the street. I think I went through the transmission at that time. But I also purchased the 47 Ford and then went to the Bob Drake and Max catalog and ordered a whole long list of stuff so that I could work on that car. The next thing that funded that car was a vehicle, a minivan, I believe it was. No, I think it was a Dodge Intrepid. I don't know, doesn't matter. Totaled it, it was the Intrepid, totaled it by hitting a deer. So I bought that car back. I took the insurance payout, bought it back from the insurance company for a couple $100 and ended up fixing it and eventually selling that. But I took the insurance payout for that car and actually purchased more stuff to move the 47 forward. Out-of-pocket expense, really nothing or very little, because I cashed out on what I had and reinvested it in something else, took the insurance payout. I didn't need the money for other cars. We had other cars. So it worked out to be able to get that project to where it is. So for a few $100, plus what I put into it my time and the materials to get it where it's at, I have very little invested in that car of the hard-earned money that goes to support our family. This is actually a part of the shop that you've seen quite a lot of, except there was a 1926 Oakland sitting right here for a long time. So I thought it'd be neat to just do a different shop. Mark is going to be here on Saturday, and we are going to really be organizing and cleaning. We've got a bunch of stuff we're going to move upstairs to make more room because the Forsyth Duster is going right here. But I'm digressing from the point of this video. Watch for deals. Watch for things that other people might pass up. One of the simplest things to look for is a truck, a pickup truck. Don't buy anything too new. Try to stay away from the computerized stuff. But you can pick up some old pickups. You can pick up an old Dodge, an old Chevy, an old Ford. Pick up something that has a 6-cylinder or a V8. Get some American muscle here. If you can sometimes pick those things up for next to nothing. I know that I had a 78 Dodge D100 that I picked up for about $200. And I actually drove the car for a while. I didn't do anything to make it pretty, but I had fun with it and just fixed little things because it was fun to do that. Watch for the deals that nobody else wants, but something that can be kind of cool. Don't overwhelm yourself with buying something necessarily like the Challenger to start. The other thing is just look at what you may already have that you can start practicing on, that you could start working on or turn into something cooler than what it is now. The point is just to start building that energy and building that investment and putting those skills to work and developing the skills that you're going to need to build the vehicle that you someday hope to build. Remember that there is no right or wrong vehicle to build. It doesn't have to be a popular car. It doesn't have to be a two-door. It doesn't even have to be a rear-wheel drive. But I would encourage you to buy something that's a little bit older that you're not going to have to get into a technology show to learn how to fix. Keep it simple for your first few builds. I've definitely worked on high-tech stuff. I prefer not to. Sometimes even this old stuff can kick my butt because there's just things that can happen that make you scratch your head. And I've been doing this for over 40 years. But look for the thing that maybe nobody else wants, that you can pick up cheap, that you can develop your skills on, that you can move forward on. Another thing you can do if you don't have the resources is be friends with somebody who's got a project that they're willing to let you help on. There's so much you can learn by working with other people. And that's part of the fun of this hobby. I mean, even I tend to be pretty much of a lone wolf when it comes to working in the shop. It's actually maybe a channel name, I'm not sure, but I did think about like Lone Wolf Hot Rods. When I'm on the phone with places like Summit or tech support for a company, I will call this Fairgrove Speed and Performance or Fairgrove Hot Rods, something like that, because I live near the town of Fairgrove. But the reality is, my name is Mike. My last name begins with an R, and my wife came up with the name Mike R's Shop, 35 years ago or something like that. So when it came time to do the YouTube channel, that's what it became. But my point is, there's a point. If you give me enough time, I eventually get there.
I come to conclusions very, very fast if you give me plenty of time to do it.
I have been really enjoying the YouTube camaraderie with all of our partner channels, or sister channels, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many, and I can't possibly begin to call them out by name, but Life at Speed, Duddy's Adventure, you've heard me talk about a lot, Bad Tree Productions, Iron Horse Garage. We just had a great conversation with Ruben yesterday over at Muscle City Madness, Peckerwood Customs. I don't know. There's just a bunch of other ones that I'm not thinking of right now, and I will mention them if I do. But I don't really prepare a whole lot for these videos, so I'm not thinking of all of them. But there are, I don't know, 10 or 12 other channels probably, and I'm enjoying the camaraderie, and it surprised me, but I'm enjoying that camaraderie with those channels and the community of sharing there as well. It wasn't something I was expecting to happen. I wasn't expecting to become part of a community, if you will, of YouTubers. And it's been really great. And it was actually Bad Tree Productions that found me. I think it was on Facebook. I cannot remember which of the guys it was over there, and I'm not going to remember all their names, but a big shout out to Blake and J-Bo and Jeremy and the rest of the guys for inviting me into their Facebook group and inviting me into their network of channels and getting to know so many of the other channels that I mentioned, developing friendships, and it's just really cool. It's a way to participate in the hobby that I didn't expect. Thank you to them and for all the encouragement they've been. But let me get back to the point. So the point of all of that, again, was get involved with other people who have vehicles, and maybe you don't have your own yet, but at least you can be putting what skills you might have to work to help somebody. And of course, when you're around other people, you're always learning something. So don't be afraid of that. It's really good to have that camaraderie of other people that you can work with and learn from and share your knowledge with. Oh yeah, there was one other point that I wanted to mention. For a lot of years, I really didn't even have a garage to work in. We had a small 3/4 size garage. Maybe it was a yard shed that had a garage door. But it was very small, and it did have heat, but I never really was able to use that for much of a workshop. On our house, we had a 1-car garage. And that's where I worked. That's where I actually painted my 31 Ford, where I put that car together. It's where I did a lot of work on the 68 Dart GTS Pro Street. I have a buddy of mine who has a barn much bigger than this who let me work on that there. Also during that time, I didn't have space to work on the 47. We were still living in that location. So I did a swap with a good friend of mine. I painted some parts on his 57 Chevy, and he allowed me to work on my 47 Ford in his shop for almost 2 years, and it didn't cost me anything. It was a swap for the paint work. And I did some other things along the way to help him out as well. So be creative. If you really want to do something, the only thing that's going to get in your way from doing it
is you.
You guys keep those ideas coming of things you'd like to see me talk about. I'm behind on video production, as I mentioned. Part of it was painting that yellow solstice. That took almost 3 weeks for me to get that project done. I had all kinds of problems I wasn't anticipating. Fortunately, my buddy Matt came out, pitched in, helped me get it done, and I was able to get that car finished up and gone, finally. So it's out of here, but that's also slowed down production here in the shop. More coming on this car. I'm in the middle of an epic episode, as I mentioned, so watch for that. Hopefully that'll be coming out soon. And I really plan to be back on Stitches really soon, so I appreciate your guys' patience. I've got a bunch of exciting stuff on that I can't wait to share with you as well. Well, why don't you subscribe to the channel? If you've watched me this far, you must be able to at least stomach me a little bit. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you receive those notifications. Also, if you're not aware, if you go to the YouTube channel homepage, youtube.com/mycarshop, the community tab is now open, and I try to post a topic or a picture or something about what's going on around here every day. So watch for that and go over there and participate in that discussion. We're on other social media platforms as well. You know the ones, and the one about your grandma, /mycarshop over there as well. All right, thanks for being here, and I think the only thing that I forgot, I think there's only one more thing.
Wow!